killing me.
What's good everyone, welcome to another Born and British video. Today we're going to be working on my 1995 Kawasaki KMX 125. Now I've got a couple of bits and bobs that I need to change. I've got new gators that match the frame colour and a couple of other small bits, and I'll show you a bracket that I made up for the expansion chamber this morning. And yeah, but first things first, we'll give her a quick run just to show you guys how she sounds, and yeah, go from there. Okay, so I have already had this running this morning, so it's not complete cold start, but it's not completely warm either, so she should go first kick. We'll see. Shut up, Dutch. Sorry, it's my dog just going off there. He thinks I'm actually talking to someone. Yeah, that's pretty much what she sounds like. So without further ado, we will crack on with taking the front wheel off and popping the forks off so we can change the gators. Okay, so guys, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take off the guards on the left and the right hand side of the forks. This one just requires some snips because it's only held on with two cable ties. This one has a small 10mm bolt that goes into the end of the axle, so you'll need to take that off and take the clamp off that holds fuck's sake. Okay, so try not to drop your bike off your temporary bike stand like I did. Always use a real safe bike stand, not blocks of wood and actual stands like I do. Yeah, so as I was saying guys, you're going to need an 8mm to undo these two bolts that clamps the front brake caliper cable to also remove this. So I'll whip these bits off. Okay, so that's both the guards off. So next is going to be to remove the front wheel. So what you're going to need to do is remove the split pin on the end and then loosen the axle bolt and take the axle out, undo the fitting on the side here for the Speedo cable, and then your wheel should drop out. Okay, so guys, once you've pulled the wheel bolt out and drop the wheel out. And the next thing that you're going to want to do for removing the forks is you're going to want to take this caliper off on this side, which is literally two Allen bolts, if you can see that. And then on the other side you just want to take off one of the brackets for the Speedo cable, which is just there. And I think that is a 12mm. So yeah, 12mm on that side, and then I believe that is a 6mm, two 6mm on that side. So then once you've done that, you're almost ready to drop your forks out. So another little tip, guys, if you're ever taking anything apart, be it a motorbike, push bike or a car, if you haven't got plenty of small sealable bags or small pots to label, then it's a good idea to put bolts that you take out back in the holes you find them. Otherwise when you go to put everything back together, it can become very tricky to figure out what goes where. And another thing, important thing to remember with a brake caliper is, while that you've got it off the wheel and the disc isn't in between the pads, never pull the brake lever, because it can completely fuse the brake pads together if the piston is triggered without the disc in the middle. So try to refrain from putting your front brake when you've got the caliper off. So I'm just going to whack these two 6mm bolts back in the holes on the caliper, and then wrap that up out the way somewhere. I was wrong. The Speedo cable on the left hand side is a 10mm, not 12. And again, once you've got this out, guys, put the bolt straight back in the hole. You don't want to be losing stuff. Another thing, guys, after I took my my front axle out, a good way to set it all up afterwards is put all the spacers and the Speedo cable fitting back on, all in the order that you took them off on, off of. So when you put it all back together, it's nice and easy to see. In fact, it goes that way, but when you put it all back together, it's nice and easy to see which bit goes where, spacers and everything. So it's, you don't get confused. Okay, so guys, you want to be relatively careful with the next bit, because this is where things can get messy if you're not careful. So on each side, holding on the shock, you've got two yokes. You've got a top yoke, which is the bit that goes across the frame and the two fork shocks, and you've got a bottom yoke, which does the same thing but on the bottom of the frame. Now what you want to do, you don't want to go loosening all these off at the same time, because you're going to have shocks dropping out left, right and centre, causing and making quite a mess. So what you want to do is loosen off the middle ones first to the point where they're loose completely, and then being very careful while holding it with one hand, you want to loosen the top one, and then that will make it become completely free, and then you can slowly drop it out of the yokes and then repeat it on the other side. So I'll do that, and then I might show you a bit along the way. Holy fork, someone has nicked my forks. No, I've only just taken them off, it's all good. So guys, once you've taken both the fork shocks out, I've got one there and one here, the next thing you're going to want to do to change the gators is you're going to want to take off these two little Phillips screws here that hold on a clamp at the top and the bottom of the fork. So yeah, so you just want to use a Phillips to loosen those off, slide both the gators off over the top of the fork, and then I'm going to give both the forks a quick clean up, and then it'll be time to put on the new beasts, which are going to look amazing. Okay, so guys, as you can see, I've got one of the shocks on with the new gator that's the now correct colour, the same colour as the frame, and the decal that is in the post. So I'm just going to run you through how to put the fork shock back on the other side, or the way I find it easiest to do anyway. So Here's your fork. I like to put the gator on obviously before, well you have to, otherwise you can't get it over. Don't fix the top end because it's a bit of a fiddle to do it behind the front fender otherwise. And make sure you give behind where the fork goes a little wipe as well, as you can never normally get to that bit. And then yeah, as I say, I find the easiest way to do it, make sure you've got your 12mm ratchet and spanner without dropping it in the sink, spanner, to hand. And yeah, basically as long as you've got your bike blocked up or on a stand high enough off the ground, you should be able to just, the same way it came out, ease it in. You don't want to force this in, it will go in. And then yeah, as long as you ease it up through, slowly rotating it, you should be able to get it all the way up to the top yoke. Make sure you move the choke cable out of the way, you don't want to get that caught in behind it. And then yeah, once you've got it pushed up high enough to the point where it should be, and I marked mine on the back with a paint marker so I know where they should be, so you can line it up. Hold it in place with your left foot, get your ratchet and spanner out and tighten up the top yoke to hold it in place, because otherwise you get cramp in your foot. So once that's nipped, you can take your foot away and that will hold itself in place. Now I did check in my KMX Haynes manual, you want to tighten these to 20 Newton meters. I haven't got a torque wrench, so, well I do have a torque wrench but it's too big, it only goes down to 30 Newton meters, so 20 Newton meters ain't a lot, so I'm just going to nip these by hand, as yeah, you don't want to over tighten them and risk snapping them. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these bottom ones up, and then the next thing you want to do is take your caliper off from the top, bolt that back on with the two 6mm Allen bolts, and they're also 20 Newton meters if anyone is wondering, and then put on your Speedo cable back onto the left hand fork as well, and then yeah, I shall get to you once I've done that, and then we'll stick the front wheel on. Yo guys, so I just thought I'd show you one more thing. I didn't actually film this earlier, but I made up a small little bracket. I got a new expansion chamber, an aftermarket one from Big One, and yeah, the little bracket that this should meet up with, when all the exhaust was on, like how it should be in the right place, the normal threaded lug didn't actually meet up with where the bracket is on this new expansion chamber, and I looked at my old one and it's actually over in a slightly different position, and I'm not really in a position right now to start cutting up the bracket on the actual exhaust and welding that, so it was easier to make up a small little bracket out of some aluminium plate that I've got to bolt that on. So that is now completely solid, which is perfect, still with the rubber bush on there for a bit of flex when it needs it. So yeah, we'll throw the front wheel on now. Right, okay, so it is time to put the front wheel on. Now I'll warn everyone, this is not an easy job. Where it's not if it's your first time. If you've done it before, then you know what you're doing. I recommend you have your axle and all your washers and everything all laid out ready to go, so that it's all accessible, because it can be a bit of a fiddle. Now what I find easiest to do is get your axle and put that in the correct side of your fork. On the KMX it is the right hand side, get that balanced in there like that, and then you want to put the washer that goes on the caliper side, the right side, or you know, whichever way you're looking at it, into that side of your wheel, so that's nice and in there snug. And then as long as you're careful, you want to put the Speedo cable onto your wheel. Now I'll just show you this on the inside of the on the inside of this. Let's get the camera to focus. There's a pattern basically, and it matches a pattern that's on the wheel. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little lug at the top and there's a little lug at the bottom on the inside of there, and yeah, that matches up with lugs that are on the wheel. So you want to make sure that you put that on matching the wheel, otherwise your Speedo cable won't spin and then your Speedo won't work. So yeah, make sure you click that on right. goes on something like this. You'll feel it click into place, and there is also two little lugs on the here on the Speedo cable fitting that match up with a lug that is on the inside of the right hand fork there. So you want to make sure you get that right in the right position, otherwise when you're driving or when you're riding, this will spin round and your Speedo cable will get ripped clean off, which is not what you want. So yeah, so basically once you've got all those bits ready, make sure you've got your washer ready for the right hand side, because that goes in between the Speedo fitting, cable fitting and the fork. So basically you want to lift it into place, get the disc between the pads. Sometimes it pays to use a flathead screwdriver just to part them a little bit to help you out. Cool. So then once you're there, you want to hover the wheel in line and slot the axle through the wheel, making sure that your Speedo cable fitting is still clipped into place where it should be. You want to slightly part the forks and slip in your washer and push your axle through. So make sure your axle's all the way through, spin your nut on, and give that a little nip up with your spanner, and then put your split pin through, and make sure you, after removing it, split the end round so it can't shoot out. And then you want to put on your Speedo cable fitting and the fairings, or the fenders, sorry. So I will show you that once I've done that. Okay, so I'll just show you that lug that's on the inside of the fitting there. If you can see that down in there, there is just there's a little lug that meets the two lugs on the frame, and as you can see, that actually stops it from rotating when the wheel is spinning. And yeah, there's that split pin on there as well to stop the axle nut coming loose. So yeah, get your Speedo cable back on, and then you want to clean up your, well, if you don't want to clean them up if you don't want to, but I do, so clean up your plastics, cable tie that one back on, and then yeah, install the other side on reverse of how it came off. Really, that's pretty much it, guys. I will get a couple of cinematic shots of the bike in the morning when I can get it outside and it's not dark, because it is pitch black outside. And yeah, looking good, very happy with how that looks. Okay, so guys, that pretty much wraps up the KMX video. So yeah, that's how you change your forks and change your gators, if anyone was wondering. So I've put a few of the panels back on after cleaning them back up, and I shall throw in the footage that I got of the bike out in the front garden in the daylight now. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the content. Like, share, subscribe, drop a comment below what you want to see next time on the KMX. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. See ya!